What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another topsy-turvy day in the world of Malamarkets, where we discuss the Pokemon trading card game as it relates to buying, selling, trading cards. And today, we're going to do something a little bit different because here's my face and my nice little setup over here. Finally got to a point where I felt like it was ready to share a little bit. We have a couple ETBs, some art, and of course on display I have some of my newer acquisitions, this one being a championship stamped Charizard PSA 9. Super pumped about that one. But today, we are not here to talk about this Charizard. We are actually here to talk about this Charizard, the Champion's Path Charizard VMAX, the Rainbow, specifically PSA 10. Here, we'll kind of go into a little bit more detail. This card obviously was massive when it came out in September of last year, 2020. And since then, it's essentially only gone down. A lot of people talk about, reprints or availability and all how popular grading is and all that kind of stuff. So we're going to get into all of that today, but ultimately we're going to kind of predict a little bit where the bottom will be on this card. Now, if you bought it early, obviously, maybe that's a little bit less ideal, but if you're thinking about buying it now, like I did, I just picked this one up about a week ago. Maybe we're starting to get a good point where this will be at a bottom point and a good time to buy. So first and foremost, as we go through this Market Watch data, keep in mind that eBay data is an absolute mess. It is completely all over the place. I use TerraPeak Research to collect data from the last calendar year, since it's been out just about a year now, the Champion's Path set as a whole, and purging that data and trying to take out all the data points is a real pain in the ass. Keep that in mind. It's not going to be 100% perfect. I tried to do my best to clean it out, but there are a couple issues here and there. Also, as I alluded to, the population for this card is outrageous. It's already close to 9,000 PSA graded copies of this card, which is insane to think about. Almost 2/3 of them are 10s. So not only is this card highly available, it's highly available on a slab, in a slab, and it's also highly available in a perfect gem mint condition. Something to consider as well. We all love to talk about supply and demand in the market stuff. Something definitely to consider. But on the flip side, though, for this Champion's Path set, the pull rate of this card was about 0.549%, and that is according to cardzard.com. Thank you, cardzard.com. You're doing the Lord's work. So still an extremely low pull rate, despite the fact that it's widely available and it's easy to find, I should say. Still difficult to pull. And the last thing, keep in mind, reprints can always change this. As of now, I don't think it seems like they're reprinting the Champion's Path ETBs, at least. I have seen some double V boxes and that kind of stuff popping around, but for the most part, it seems like they're probably moving on with Evolving Skies coming out, with Celebrations coming out. It seems they're probably moving on. So I thought, especially with this being a year after the set came out, this might be a good time to check it out. And by the way, if you would consider liking and subscribing to this video as we go through the analysis and the data here, I would really appreciate it. Let me know if you enjoyed this video and found it helpful. Now, let's start by looking at the sales data, comparing the PSA 10s and the raws. As you guys saw, the population is so high, it probably makes the most sense only to compare the PSA 10s for this card and the raws. You can see here in September, when this card initially came out, the price started immediately at around $600, all the way to about a year later where we were actually below 200, and the PSA 10s as well started about 1,700 down to about 480 right now as market price for a PSA 10, somewhere in that range. But you can see as time has gone on for both the raw cards and for the PSA 10 cards that the price is actually declining at a slower rate than it was initially, which makes sense. Obviously, when these cards first hit the market, there's a lot of hype pricing. And just so you know, too, these are thousands and thousands of sales records. And going off of what I was talking about, declining percentage change in price, let's look specifically at the PSA 10s. Here's the difference month to month in the price. So you can see initially the price from October to November dropped by almost 50%. Absolutely crazy. Now you can see in February, the price actually increased a tiny bit. I think it's about 3% there. January, February, March, where the market was still high, that kind of solidified things a little bit to a normal after the hype pricing died down. And then after that hype pricing died down, you can kind of see here as we go on, month to month, even coming here to August, the price has slowly stopped declining as much, which is an interesting trend. Does that mean we're nearing the bottom of this card? I'm not exactly sure, but you can also see here for the sales volume, this is the total monthly PSA 10 sales. Again, take it for what it's worth as the eBay data, and the August is obviously projected because at the filming of this video, the month is not quite done yet. You can actually see here that the sales volume is dropping month over month. So what does that exactly mean as far as these cards go? It could mean the way I see it, that more and more collectors who actually want the card, as opposed to flippers and people who are trying to just, make a quick buck from pulling one of the rarer cards in the set for Champion's Path, the people who actually want it are holding on to it. So the month-to-month sales volume on eBay and likely other places as well is dropping, meaning more people are holding it and less people are actually putting this card back on the market in order to be sold. So the demand is still high, but less and less will be available as more and more people are actually holding on to these cards to collect them, if that makes sense. But wait, what about that massive PSA population, you say? Well, that's a good point. And this is about, 9,000 cards, close to it as of this date for PSA. Well, let's compare it to another massive PSA population card, like the base set Unlimited Charizard. Holy crap. This is crazy because I posted about this maybe a month ago that there were 25,000 graded copies. Now there are 26. But 26,000 graded copies of this card. Insane. The 10s, obviously, very, very low. But even the 9s, there's almost 6,000. 8s, there's over 6,000. 7, there's over 4,000. These are highly, highly graded, highly available cards. Now, granted, this is the original Charizard, besides Shadowless and First Edition. But these cards, as you can see from the prices here, still highly desirable. Of course, the 10s, let's not really count them because that population is too low. But even the 9s are selling above 1,300. 8s are about 550, and 7s are about 350. These cards are still holding value very, very well, despite the absolute high populations and the wide availability. I mean, even in the raw versions, these cards are very, very easy to come by. It's not hard to find at all, and they're still holding value. And by the way, I did a video about this card in particular at the end of June, and these market prices between the end of June and between today towards the end of August have stayed mostly flat as well. So you can see, just like the Charizard VMAX, these cards have kind of been slowing down in terms of how quickly the price is dropping. Could be that we're reaching a bottom here on these cards as well. So based on that analysis, with this little guy right here, who's really not so little, if you think about it. I mean, this is a Gigantamax Charizard. But based on that analysis, this little guy right here, I am targeting a low of about $350. That might be a little bit too low. I'm trying to be conservative, but we'll see. Based on the fact that, yeah, you can get a lot of other highly graded Charizards that are still valuable too. Time will tell. As you can tell, it's been leveling out. I think we're going to start to get to a point where it'll completely level out as people will move on. People like me, like most of you too, actually want to hold on to this card, actually want to collect this card, are going to hold on to and collect this card, not try to sell it and make a profit off of it. That's going to take some out of the market too, and the demand is still going to be high. This is a highly collectible card, highly desired card. It's a pretty badass card if you ask me too. So I think it's going to be something that will hold value. That said, I don't think because of the massive supply, we're going to see a massive price spike on these again. Even in maybe 20 years, I'm not sure this card will touch $1,000 again. That's just my opinion based on what I see in the data and how other cards are and how other cards are dropping with massive supplies too. But what do you guys think? Do you agree? Do you disagree? I'd love to know in the comments what you think. Let's have a discussion about it. And if you found this video helpful at all, again, please consider subscribing and liking this video, telling other people as well. I'd really appreciate it. And other than that, I'll see you on the next one.